Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. I know, it might be too soon for some people who are still getting over last night's late upload on the departure of Calvin Bassey, but it's time to get back forward and move on and try and get ourselves distracted. And not only do we have our, of course, Champions League opponents now revealed for the qualifier, but we've also got another nugget of information and something to smile about, and that is, of course, the next and newest signing at the football club. And I'll tell you something right now, it might just be the centre-back we've been needing. But I know there is a lot of questions surrounding this signing. People want to talk about the fee paid, people want to talk about the player, is this Calvin Bassey's replacement, etc, etc. I know there is so much to break down and discuss, and we'll do it all today, so sit back, relax, grab a refreshment and let's get started. And as always, we'll start off where it needs to be, with a welcome to the football club and a kick-in of the old tyres by starting off with the player profile and check to see what we've brought in to the football club. Now, Ben Davies is a 6'1" left-sided centre-back who's naturally left-footed, and that right there is probably everything you need to know. So if that was it, there you are, troops. This is exactly what we've been needing in a team. Someone who can play in that spot beside Connor Golton, who's not playing out of position, who's played the majority of his career in that fricking area. Again, being 6'1" as well, he's not the biggest or most physically demanding or dominating centre-back, but he's a modern-day centre-back with his athleticism, and again, he's good with the ball at his feet, which is probably his biggest asset, and one of the main reasons Giovanni has got him in the team, because you can see it night and day. That is what he wants from our centre-backs. He wants someone to be able to pick the ball up and drive forward like a Connor Golson and pick out a pass. Well, big Ben Davies has been doing that all his freaking career, so I can definitely see why we've brought him in. And another reason why we've brought him in, people, is the word versatility. Now, you've probably heard that a lot if you've been paying attention, been watching other reaction videos and player profiles. You've heard me say versatile several times, in fact in every single one of them, because Gio likes that ability and likes players to be able to go a couple areas, and that doesn't change or doesn't halt here, people. Nah, because big Ben Davies is that as well, as he can naturally play as a left-sided centre-back, but he can also play left-back, as he's played 77 times in his career. But make no mistake about it, people, he is a centre-back, and that's where I'm expecting him to be playing for Rangers, whether it is in a back four as a left-sided centre-back next to Connor Golton, actually having a left footer on that side and a right footer on that side. By God, is it glorious. We saw how comfortable and how well it worked when Hollander was able to go being left-footed next to Golton, and now we're going to have someone a lot more robust able to play in a Ben Davies. But again, he's not just able to play in a back four and he needs his full back for support. No, because he is naturally quick and athletic and everything like that, he spent a lot of his career playing in a back three and that as well. He's very comfortable in that, so I can see him being a left-sided centre-back with maybe a John Souttar in the middle and then a Connor Golton in there as well. Again, I'm not expecting us to start the season off with a back three, but as the season goes on, maybe by Christmas, I wouldn't be surprised to see that as a back three when we're all up and running. But to wrap up the man's player profile, athletic, quick enough across the deck, but very comfortable with the ball at his feet. If you want a wee cheeky label, because everybody likes him these days, I'd say he's a ball-playing defender, and I think he'll suit right in. He never really dives into challenges. You very rarely see him going in there and absolutely nailing someone. He's very calm and very composed and very clever with how it goes to the deck, and the more you hear about the stats, you'll see that backed up, because he isn't a rash player, and you know, that calmness, I think, is exactly what we need. And again, pulling it back to Hollander, that's what he brings when he comes into the team, and I can see Davies bringing that same kind of effect. And if he's half as effective as Hollander shown when he's able to get on the frickin' park, I'll be very delighted. And again, all this man's attributes and what he can bring to the table, I understand why we brought him in. With that being said, however, that's the player profile wrapped up. Now let's get to some numbers and stats then, shall we? Because again, it's a number and stats generation. Everybody wants to know in the latest signing, and Ben Davies came from Liverpool, so did he get any games there last season? No, he never. He's played in a couple friendlies and all that, but that's it. In fact, he spent the season on loan at promotion pushing Sheffield United, who were out there trying to get back to the Premier League and ended up losing the last game of the season to get into the Premier League on penalty kicks. But again, they didn't play Ben Davies, so aye, their fault really. But where he didn't play in the final game of the season, or actually in the playoffs versus Nottingham Forest for the big prize of the Premier League, he did play 21 times in all competitions, in which he managed to pick up a cheeky goal 3 yellow cards and, more importantly, played his part in 8 clean sheets over the 21 games, including one of the best runs Sheffield United put in defensively. He was actually in the heart of that and played, and then he got dropped for 2 games and they never won either. It was a strange loan, to say the very least, but again, he showed when he was able to go in the park what he was capable of, and again, the stats and everything back up that when he was in there, the defence was solid. Now, it is worth noting, by the way, that Sheffield United does play with a back three, so he's coming into Rangers having played his entire most recent season of football in a back three as a left centre back, so that'll help fit him in if Gio wants to try and get that implemented as the season goes on. But moving away from Sheffield United, because that's not really why or where he was at his absolute peak. This guy has got a wealth of experience at the age of just 26 years old, and where he really grabbed a lot of eyes was his time at Preston, where again he captained the side. That's where he earned the potential moves. That's where he earned the move to Liverpool, and that's when he ended up rejecting Celtic because he didn't want to go there. But his performances were opening these doors to teams where again he slammed a couple of them shut, but when Liverpool came calling, he decided that was the move that he wanted to try and make. And again, a lot of players we've discussed over the years on the channel, well, sometimes when you go to Liverpool or even like a Tillman at a Bayern Munich, it's very hard to actually break in there because they've got a decent centre back by the name of Virgil van Dijk. Maybe you've heard of him, and Matip, and they've got another guy that is it Konate or something like that. They spent about 50 million on. It was a hard nut to crack there, but he fancied his chances. Klopp signed off on him because he had a wee bit of sun, but again, it was a hard nut to crack into there, and they're spending money trying to catch Man City now, so I think it was right for Ben Davies to move. But to be fair, this is supposed to be numbers and stats, CJ, so stop chatting and get to the numbers. So taking everything into consideration, Sheffield United, Preston, everything he's done his entire career and thrown it in a mixer bowl at the age of 26 years old, he has played 271 games. He has 4 goals to his name. He has got 6 assists on that bad boy. He's picked up 32 yellow cards, and again, despite spending the majority of his career, apart from one game where he did play left mid in defence, he has went and never, ever been sent off. Never had 2 yellow cards in the same game and never picked up a straight red. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but as soon as I hear that, I'm thinking, well, that's going to change when he comes up here and gets refed by Bobby Madden, Kevin Clancy, and the mob that is up here. But again, he's never had that, and that for me isn't it just a fun wee joke that I can make at the referees in this country, but it's also an indication of what I mentioned earlier on and really highlights and backs that up. This guy isn't a rash player at all. He doesn't get involved in things he doesn't need to. He doesn't go to ground if he doesn't need to. He sees the game differently, and I think that's important calmness to add into a Rangers back line that last season was anything but calm and everything like that. So I'm very, very excited to see what he can bring to this Rangers team, and hopefully just calm everyone down so it's no a Benny Hill sketch every single time someone runs at them. And that's the man's numbers and everything. He's played a lot of games for his age, and that shows you the level of talent in that he's been playing it, especially the majority of them being in the Championship. He's hardened by that, he's used to going at that. But moving away from the numbers, let's get to the old competition for places then, shall we? Because again, this will be an interesting conversation point between me and Dave, because to me, he comes right into the team and jumps the queue right to that left centre-back spot. Then I see he's going to leapfrog Jack Simpson, he's going to leapfrog Katic, and he's going to leapfrog Helander, in my opinion, who again is still struggling with his injuries, and he's going to leapfrog John Souttar, and that's going to be the back five. If we're starting a back four, I'm expecting it to be Tav, Goldson, Big Man, and then you've got possibly Barisic, depending on who we bring on to the end of the season. But that's genuinely where I put this laddie after looking into him. I think he's going to go right in there because he just fits in too well. Again, as we mentioned throughout today's video, I'm expecting us to start playing and flirting with the back three and maybe get there by Christmas and have it actually implemented, being able to play in week in and week out. And I see maybe a Souttar in there alongside Goldson and Davis. But that's where I expect him to be, ladies and gentlemen. We've invested quite heavily in him, and we're going to discuss that in a second. And I expect him to be that robust centre-back that can start to build a partnership with Connor Goldson, because that is what we need. If you go back to when we were undefeated league campaign and everything like that, something that we had was consistency at our centre-back spot. It was there, and the partnership was there. Helander and Goldson, it was absolutely glorious, but we've never been able to get a partnership at all last season, because our centre-back would come into the left centre-back spot, play 2 games, be hobbled for 4 weeks, or be hobbled for 16 weeks, or be having to play left back and swap with Barisic because his head was gone. We never had consistency. We never got that partnership. And I think this could be the best thing for Connor Goldson as well, to be partnered alongside someone who is robust, who can play a certain amount of games this season, and again is naturally left-footed, where it's not always getting shifted and being awkward on the right-hand side. So aye, that's where I expect him to be. Bona fide starter. Day one. And I will be honest, I do fear for the big Swede now, who I've got a lot of love for, and I think he's a fantastic defender, but again, it's that injury proneness that is hurting him, and the money we've spent on Big Davies is one of the reasons I think he's going to go right into the team. So let's discuss the deal then, shall we? Because I know a lot of people's angry, foaming at the mouth and very aggressive about this, so let's discuss it in detail. Rangers are paying $3 million up front, with a potential one more added on based on appearances and all that malarkey and that well. So it's a total package of £4 million with 3 of them up front. I know, people, this was a man who got signed from Preston by Liverpool for 500k a year ago, and now that he's getting flipped for a package of £4 million. I can understand the frustration, but again, it's football, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? Look what we've done with the likes of Calvin Bassey, who's had 2 years playing and 1 year playing as a starter and everything like that. You know what I mean? It is the way it goes. He had time on his contract. You've got to pay that up and everything. It all goes into it, people. And you know what? See, when I think about it, what did we spend on Connor Gold? See, if you just put all the cards on the table right now and go back, we spent £3 million on Connor Goldson, which now looks like, oh my god, what a sensational signing that is. But if you remember, we were signing a laddie who hadn't played a lot of football after a serious heart condition. There was major questions, but we saw something in the laddie and were willing to spend the £3 million because of what he could do. And when you look at Davis, he is robust, he is playing non-stop, and we are spending the same as what we spent on Connor Goldson. And I think when you put it like that, it makes the deal a lot more sense, because if you want quality in your centre-backs, you need to spend quality in your centre-backs, and for me, that's what Davis is. He's a quality centre-half. I see Davis answering a lot of his critics right away, because I know he's already... And it's interesting, right? Because we've been screaming, we need a left-sided centre-half who's able to play with the ball at his feet and not look like Bambi on ice when he gets the football and be manic. And now we've got a left centre-back who doesn't look like Bambi on ice, who's naturally left-footed and can play with the ball, and now we're upset and frustrated about it. It's crazy doing this, people. It must be absolutely manic. But for me, it's 2 thumbs up in this one. It genuinely is. And you've seen the excitement already for half the side of Scottish football who thought they were getting him, who is now rapidly deleting tweets. Well, he's rejected them, came here, and what a point he'll be looking to prove in that as well. And that partnership with Goldie, I can see been a success. And the last thing we need to talk about is, of course, is this Calvin Bassey's replacement? Because this narrative right here is one of the reasons I think he's getting a lot of flack online, and a lot of people are turning on him already. This isn't a Bassey replacement. Everyone needs to stop that, please. This was a guy who was identified, who's been brought into the football club because they've been wanting him for weeks. This isn't because Bassey's moved on, people. We needed a left-sided centre-back who was robust. We went ahead and got a left-sided centre-back who's robust. Bassey leaving, yes, leaves a hole in the team, but we've got a lot of money to fill that, and we will be filling that, people, and be getting another left back and all that, etc. So didn't be too harsh on this lad expecting him to be a Calvin Bassey, or saying we sold this guy for all these 20 millions and we've bought someone for full million. Frustration, anger. That's no the way it was happening. Ben was always coming in, no matter what happened with Calvin. He's been someone we've been needing, and he's in the team right now. And I think that's me covered everything regarding the deal. We've discussed the player profile, we've looked at the old footballing CV, we've discussed the competition for places, we've broke down the deal in my opinion on it and where I can see him playing and why I think he's going to be a success. Now it's for me to hand the reins over to you. I want to know your thoughts and opinions, not only our Champions League opponent, by the way, who again we touched on earlier on in the video. I'm not going to make an individual video on that because I'll be making a preview in 10 days or something like that, or 2 weeks or whatever it is. So that will come in the future. It'll be good to know your opinion. But our latest and newest signing is here. What you thinking and why? Let me know down in the comment section below. And do you see him being the starter next to Goldie? I would love to know how you feel about that. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been CJ Over 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.